Off and racing. Colin Bond, another blinder off the start. This time Jones goes with him and splits them and comes up the inside of Colin Bond. Masterton makes another flyer, and so too does Neville Crichton, but Jones may have blown it. He's slowed down going to the top of the hill as they drop over into the loop, with Masterton now leading.
Got a definite nudge from Jimmy Richards, did Alan Jones.
He's gone wide again, right in front of Williamson, so he has problems, Alan Jones, and tailing Steve Masterton. Colin Bond yet again, and coming down the inside of him, looking very businesslike indeed.
Yes, you can see the nerf on the front of the BMW car number 62, so Jim definitely gave Alan Jones a nudge. As Steve Masterton leads them through Honda Corner for the first time. Colin Bond in second. In third place, Neville Crichton. Behind him, Jim Richards, Gary Wilmington, Tony Longhurst and Alan Jones fighting back for supremacy.
Here's Steve Masterton to the late corner. In control. Bond sits behind him. Neville Crichton is third. Fourth place. Little
Neil.
BMW problem there against the concrete wall, but that's Lowe, I think.
Yeah, Neil Lowe, and also mixed in there is Glenn Malloy. I think poor old Willow was tangled up there somewhere along the line.
Yes, got caught between the two.
Well, the car is gone, but meantime Steve Masterton leads over the top. Second spot being held down by the yellow Alpha, driven by Colin Bond. Then Neville Crichton, Croaky Crichton in 31, and Jim Richards in 62.
I'll tell you what, Gary Wilmington is close enough, if good enough too, in the big Jaguar this afternoon.
Back behind him, I think, is Tony Longhurst and then Alan Jones.
Neville Crichton paved the way for Jim Richards to go through in the car number 62 then, so Jim gets a crack at the leaders. There's Wilmington, Longhurst and Jones. Let's have a look at a replay here as Ken Matthews goes through. As they came out of the right-hander at Lake Corner.
Bang.
And in goes Neil Lowe. I would suggest somebody was up his tailpipe at the time, because Willow's in the middle of the bunch there in car 77 as we come back live and looking at Tony Longhurst with Alan Jones, the 1980 World Formula One champion in hot pursuit. Longhurst had a couple of rotations this morning in the first heat and hasn't come to terms with things today quite so well compared to the first round here at Amaroo a month or so back.
Masterton leads into Dunlop Loop. Bond again, rock solid citizen in second. Crichton back there in third, and Jim Richards in fourth. He's got the distance on his side, 20 laps this one. And Bond is going to really push Masterton hard over the distance. To Honda Corner again. And as they come out of that bend, I'd say the tyres might be starting to get a little warmish on the Commodore. But he's sitting there, handling the bends nicely, not too sideways. Comes out of there nicely with Colin Bond sitting right in, and Bond would be well aware that he's got two BMWs behind him.
The car that's doing a great job is the little 2.3 litre six-cylinder BMW back in fourth place as Colin Bond has a look here on the outside. It's not giving too much away to the 3.5 litre bigger black cars in front of it, but Masterton the leader. Bond on the inside. Jim Richards looking for the way around the outside, and Neville Crichton playing rear guard.
Well, that's where Masterton gets the car a little bit sideways coming out of Dunlop Loop. Crichton, as you can see, wants to get on with this one. I really don't think that Steve is bound for the lead for too many more laps.
Glenn Malloy out of business in the Woolworths entry.
Bad day for BMWs.
Who's that?
Well, no, that's a Marshall, but and it looks like a tyre or something has come off the car and gone down into the behind the back of the stand there.
Oh, and Colin Bond getting plenty here from Neville Crichton at the moment. Richards goes through to second, so the new leader at the moment, or should I say new second place holder at the moment, is
Jim Richards.
Jim Richards, yeah, what a performance. Well, confusion there. I didn't quite know who went where because the three of them went down to the right-hander together. So Richards, then followed by Bond, now with Neville Crichton in hot pursuit. And Gary Wilmington, as you said before, Gary, is getting very close.
Yeah, and Alan Jones is clawing his way back. He's not all that far away either after getting touched up by Jim on the hill the first time.
Yes, he's got by Tony Longhurst now. A bit hard to know where to look just at present.
There's Bondy going through in third. Crichton back to fourth. Wilmington is fifth, and then Jones and Longhurst. Jones 27 coming up on the Jag towards the lake corner again. Binders come on the Jag.
David and Goliath, this is.
Not right, not wrong. Still number 12, Gary Wilmington. Through Wonderlick Corner. He's got straight line speed, the Jag up the hill. But watch Jones start to haul him in when they drop down into Dunlop Loop.
This is a little bit like the Formula V's. We've got 7 cars all up towards the head of the field.
The pole sitter. course, as they come down towards the lake. It's Richards slipping by on the inside of Masterton, obviously with tyre problems, and will go through to take over the lead. So coming out of that corner, the lead changed, but here once again Alan Jones with Tony Longhurst joining into the spirit of things behind Alan Jones, coming up to Wonderlick corner again. Whether or not he can haul in Wilmington's Jagger over the distance, we'll have to wait and see. But it's been a fascinating scrap because Longhurst shows every sign of wanting to go on with it as well.
In this round of the Better Breaks AMSCAR Series at Amaroo Park, and Jim Richards just there on the right of screen goes through to lead the race now from in second place Colin Bond. Steve Masterton has dropped back to third, then Neville Crichton, followed by Tony Longhurst, then Gary Wilmington and Alan Jones. This is the view from race cam in Steve Masterton's car. In third place, that's Colin Bond up ahead of him, and disappearing over the top of the hill, Jim Richards.
To Dunlop Loop again is the car that threw the wheel off earlier, parked the harm's way there, as Jim Richards comes down towards Mazda corner. Unbeaten run again for the BMW team driver. So I mentioned earlier a few of the drivers who have decided to give Amaroo a miss before the Australian Touring Car Championship round will find a very, very competitive Jim Richards. If they think they're going to beat him off the start, that's one thing, but they've got to beat him over the distance, which I believe will be 50 laps for the touring car round here.
6 wins from 6 starts is what Jim Richards is looking at the moment in car number 62. That's a clean skin, that's for sure. Great performance from the BMW driver, and just exactly the same that we've seen from him in the Australian Touring Car Championship. Is Richards over the top of the hill now with a half reasonable gap, and lap 10 with 10 to go, so exactly half race distance. Past the Glenn Malloy BMW, which was involved in that rather unusual looking incident through the right-hander. There's Bond, the gap back to the next drivers. This is the great battle between Wilmington and Jones. Tony Longhurst has broken free of this one now. But as Gary said before, this is a real David and Goliath number, because we've got the V12 Jag with a 2.5 litre V6 Alfa Romeo. And Jones really hasn't been able to come to terms with either the car or the circuit all weekend. Longhurst, meanwhile, getting close to the back of Crichton as we look at Gary Wilmington.
Wilmington still sitting there.
It's a very wide car for Jones to have to find a way around. Although Longhurst managed to do it. Oh, look at that, will you? Flap, flap, flap. He'll take off in a minute.
Up Bitchpave Hill, and the Jag pulls away from the Alpha GTV. But when they drop into the loop, this is where Jones closes it from here down to Honda corner. But unfortunately, the Jag gets wider from this point on to the bottom part of the course. Not really the circuit you would think that Gary Wilmington would want to come out and play with the BMWs and the Alphas. Tightest, or one of the tightest tracks in Australia.
Well, the car is big and heavy, and I would imagine a quite difficult motor car to drive. And Jones still putting lots of pressure on. Oh, look, the sparks from the back of the big Jag as Jones looks for a run through on the inside. Will he get him? It's going to be very tight. Wilmington closes the gate. And now the big horsepower of the Jag runs away from the Alpha up the straight to the top of Bitchpave. Look at that gap. Nose to tail as they came out of the right hand before, and now Jones has to do all of the hard work once again. Left-hand drive car to somewhat of a disadvantage here as well. This is the battle between Crichton and Longhurst. Longhurst having fought his way out of the battle between Wilmington and Jones, now dives for an inside run on Crichton. I think he pulled it off. Masterton doing battle there with car number 65, John Craft in the Capri. So Masterton in third position. And Longhurst is in fourth position now.
So Longhurst, there he is, in the BMW Motorsport entry.
Crichton to fifth. Jones has now got Gary Wilmington for sixth. So Wilmington back to seventh, then followed by Peter Williamson in eighth.
Neville Crichton carries on in 31 behind Tony Longhurst.
A little 3-2-3 is really running well this weekend. Neville Crichton having his first competitive run here at Amaroo Park in the second of the JPS cars. He didn't show up, you'll recall, at the first round after bending the subframe of the car at Amaroo. Although they do a lot of testing here at Amaroo Park on a regular basis.
To Honda corner again. There's Neville Crichton in car number 31. Hasn't been able to pull back that gap on Tony Longhurst. So Longhurst has done one heck of a job.
6 laps to go here.
He's actually closing the gap on Masterton at the moment, and with 6 to go, he must be a fair shake to at least get close to the back of Masterton, if not get by.
Richards leading to the top of the hill. There's Neville Crichton going through in car number 31. So the order unchanged. Richards doing it easily out in front in car number 62. Colin Bond in second spot in car number 26.
Well, Crichton really seems to be off the pace through the right-hander here at the moment. And one would have to say that there's something wrong with the car which lies second in the Australian Touring Car Championship after 7 rounds.
Well, he goes into Honda corner again and makes his way down to the bottom turn. There's the Jag going through, car number 12, Gary Wilmington. So the order still Richards leading up the hill and opening that gap all the time on Colin Bond in number 26, running third. Masterton is still third, and Longhurst closing on Masterton as they go up to the top of Bitcher Pave.
Wilmington goes over the start-finish line with 5 laps remaining. But I'm afraid he's lost out in the battle with Longhurst and Alan Jones. And Longhurst, in fact, is really doing it well. There he is in 23 and closing very quickly now on Steve Masterton.
Be a big day for Frank Gardner, Neil, if he can get the BMW Motorsport entry 23 up, clear of the Commodore.
Yeah, great performance from Longhurst.
I'll tell you what, I think he might do it too.
Particularly after the problems he had in Heat 1, where he went over the top of the hill and spun the car 3 or 4 times, and he was sitting in the back of the truck looking pretty despondent about it all. They put the car up on the hoist, had a look underneath, cleaned all the rubbish off it, and he's come back and he's really firing in this one.
So point to prove for Tony Longhurst. Doing it well up front from Colin Bond, then Masterton about to come under threat from this man.
Longhurst was the winner of the Alpha Series here a couple of years back, or a year back, in '84. He knows his way around this course very well. And what a shame it's been so far that we haven't seen this car in the Australian Touring Car Championship, but I do believe that we'll see it on the Sydney rounds at Amaroo Park and Oran Park at the close of the series, rounds 8 and 9.
It could be a race spoiler too for quite a few of the teams. Now Steve Masterton still back there running in third, but the man making all the ground on him is Tony Longhurst in the 23 BMW Motorsport entry, and just watch the way he'll close here under brakes. There's Masterton. How close is Longhurst? And laps running out.
Gone through on their 17th.
56.5 on 17 to Steve Masterton. Gets away from the BMW up to the top of the hill. But from this point on, this is where the car gets very skatey indeed.
Yeah, handling's gone right off on the Commodore, hasn't it?
A bit of opposite lock on there. And here comes Longhurst down the inside.
He's going to do it.
And did it nicely. So Tony Longhurst up into third place. The BMW 635 with Jim Richards at the wheel leads from Colin Bond in 26. And now Tony Longhurst running in third in car number 23.
Be interesting to see how much ground Longhurst can pull on Colin Bond in second place. I don't think he'll have time to really get on his tail or get past him, not with only 3 laps remaining in the race. In fact, 2 laps remaining now as they cross the start-finish line.
As he goes by Chris Heyer, he still is closing the gap, however, Gary. The car is phenomenal under brakes. I noticed as they went to the tight right-hander. Look at Masterton here, though, with horsepower to advantage.
This will be good. We take race cam as he comes down under brakes behind Tony Longhurst. That would not be impressing Steve Master, who have already taken the lead away, and then have something so small and so agile nibbling away at him, and Longhurst, then take him.
Longhurst will lose him here anyway, I reckon.
through this party. Well, Masterton's only hope obviously is up the hill again. There's the race leader, gentleman Jim Richards, in car number 62, heading down to the right-hander at the lake. Big day for Jim, big month for Jim, big year for Jim.
Big Jim.
Last lap forward is being shown to Jim Richards. All he's got to do is keep it all together to take the checkered flag here. And that'll be 3 wins out of 3 starts here today. That'll be unbeaten in the Better Breaks series here at Amaroo so far. And of course the man who leads the way in the Australian Touring Car Championship so far. Really has had a phenomenal run here in this series, Jim Richards. Second round of the series, 3 heats at each round. This will make win number 6.
Coming down to the lake corner for the final time through the gears in the 62 car, the BMW 635, along the short straight to Wonderlick Corner. And Jim Richards, the master of the Australian Touring Car Championship, the master of the Better Breaks Series, and the master of Amaroo Park. Chalk up another one to gentleman Jim.
Jim Richards first, Colin Bond second, and Tony Longhurst third in today's round of the Better Breaks AMSCAR Series at Amaroo Park.